afternoon, we will be dealing with this. We will be dealing with the study design used in epidemiology. So for our team, Miss Jenny Rose Masokol and yours truly, Mark Jeffrey Alvarez. So si Ma'am Jen, sa analytics study siya. So sa akin sa descriptive. So for the introduction, epidemiology employs various study design used to gauge health-related phenomena. Understanding biologic approach and different types of study designs is crucial for conducting rigorous research and drawing valid conclusions about the relationships between exposures and outcomes. So for us to come up with to test our conclusions or our hypothesis, we use two studies. Dalawang study natin, yung descriptive and analytic. So i-discuss po namin yan later. So for the objective of this module, by the end of this module, learners should be able to first describe the epidemiologic approach. Second, to differentiate the types of epidemiologic designs in terms of objective, presence or absence of manipulation of the exposure variable, direction of inquiry and assessment time points. And lastly, given a study description, identify the specific type of epidemiologic study. So what is epidemiologic approach? So epidemiologic approach involves systematically studying the distribution and determinants of health-related states or events in population. So the goal is to identify risk factors and inform as well preventive measures and interventions to control and prevent diseases. So meron po tayong 4 components. Sabi, we have the population perspective, observational nature, data collection, and yung analysis natin. So first thing na kailangan natin tatandaan sa epidemiologic approach or when we are doing epidemiologic approach, we should be able to define the problem as well as to measure the occurrence of the condition. Third is to describe its distribution. And after describing the distribution of the distribution of the diseases, we should be able to identify determinants as well and to come up with hypotheses and to test those hypotheses. And ano man yung ma-draw result natin, we should be able to come up with a preventive measures or interventions and as well to challenge or to challenge those interventions or titingnan natin if gumana ba or na-achieve niya ba yung goal ng mga ito. So, first thing sa epidemiologic approach is sabi ko nga, to define the problem. So, we should first clearly define kung ano ba talaga yung health condition or yung disease na meron. And especially we should be specific on what the condition is, who the person or who are affected and as well as yung community na at risk. So for let's say for example, we are trying to investigate a measles outbreak in a certain community. So ayun, after defining the problem, we should be able, sabi ko nga, to measure the occurrence of the condition. So how do we measure the occurrence of the condition? We measure it by frequency. And as well, in measuring the frequency, we use rates katulad ng incidence rate and prevalence rate natin. Sabi natin kanina, kapag incidence rate, ito yung new cases natin. Kapag prevalence rate, ito po yung total cases po natin. Let's say for example, we are evaluating or calculating, I should say, we are calculating the prevalence of diabetes in Tuguegarao City. So mga ganon. So after po natin ma-measure yung occurrence ng disease, we try to describe the distribution or its distribution. In describing the distribution of a disease, we do this in terms of yung PPT po natin. So PPT, yung place, person, and time po natin. And under po ito sa descriptive study. So parang dito pumapasok yung descriptive study natin. So when we say place, when we say person na lang muna. Person, place, and time po kasi yung PPT natin. So we are basically answering the question who, when, and where po natin. So pag sinabi nating person, who, we answer the question who. And kailangan din po natin maging specific when referring to person. When we say specific, parang may mga subgroup siya, di ba? Yung based ba sa gender niya, sa age niya, sa race niya, sa occupation niya. So all of those are considered person kasi. Then next, yung place. So we are answering the question where, or yung basically yung geographic or geographical um, location po natin. And as well, yung last, yung time. So when did the disease occur? So meron bang trend over time? For let's say for example, pag sinabi ng trend, may seasonal variation po ba siya? Ano, during rainy seasons ba, during peak seasons ba? So mga ganon. So in describing the distribution of a disease, it helps us now to understand yung pattern po natin and as well to identify populations na at risk po. So after describing the distribution of the disease, we should be able to identify determinants po natin. When we say determinants, ito po yung mga risk factors po natin. Ano ba yung mga risk factors? Can be lifestyle, pwede po siyang biological, pwede rin po siyang environmental, which is associated with the disease or health outcomes po natin. So let's say for example, we are trying to investigate smoking, if smoking is a major determinant of a lung cancer. So after natin ma-identify yung determinants po natin or risk factors, dito na po papasok yung pag-test natin ng hypothesis. So kapag kasi meron na tayong makapag-identify na po tayo ng determinants, we should be able to come up with an hypothesis po natin. Ano? And then after that, we should be able to test for that hypothesis. So tinetest po natin yung hypothesis natin through experimental studies po natin. Ano yung under sa experimental studies natin? So mamaya i-discuss naman po ni Ma'am Jen yun. Pero sa ngayon, papahapyawan ko lang, meron po tayong observational and experimental. Ano yung tetest natin yung hypothesis dito is about the causality, ano, which are tested through, sabi ko nga, yung observational, like for example yung cohort and case control natin, and experimental like yung RCT or randomized control trials natin and community trials po natin. Let's say for example, uh, yung pag-test po natin ng hypothesis, we are testing if exposure of a second-hand smoker increases the risk of heart disease in non-smokers. So mamaya naman i-discuss po naman namin ng mas ano pa, mas ano ba tawag dito, mas clear. So ayun, after natin makapag-test ng hypothesis po, we should be able as well to make an intervention or prevention po natin based po sa findings ngayon natin sa mga experimentations or sa observational study po natin. So, ayun, ang reason why we create intervention and preventions natin, syempre to reduce the risk ng disease or prevent natin yung pag-spread. So I think si Ma'am ata yung nakapag-discuss nung prevention natin, yung three types of prevention natin, yung primary, secondary, and tertiary. So example natin sa primary, vaccination. So we prevent the disease before it occurs. Parang ganun. Yung secondary natin, sample niya, I think is the screening. Okay, for early detection po kasi tayo sa secondary. Sa tertiary, uh, parang na mental block tuloy ako. Sa tertiary po natin is batawag dito, parang ini-inhibit pa natin yung mas lalong pag-spread niya or yung example kasi dito, sabihin natin na addict yung isang tao sa smoking. So yung mga rehabilitation, we do cessation smoking program, mga ganyan. So last is to analyze or to, sabi ko nga parang isa-challenge natin yung ano po natin, yung prevention and yung intervention natin if na-achieve niya ba talaga yung goal niya, if nag-reduce ba yung disease rate natin or yung level ng disease po natin or mas lalong tumaas. So doon po tayong mag-a-adjust. So next, sabi natin meron tayong apat na components sa epidemiologic approach natin. First is the population perspective. Yes, epidemiology focuses on populations rather than individuals. Unlike kasi sa ibang mga studies, like for example, clinical studies natin, which focuses on individuals. And It aims to identify patterns and trends in disease occurrence across different groups. So, ang isang ano niya is the observational nature. So epidemiologic studies often involve observation rather than experimentation. Ibig sabihin nun, sa experimental study kasi meron tayong mga controlled interventions like yung next nasabi ni Ma'am nun na randomize, yung random distribution natin kapag sa experimental study natin. But in general, observation po yung ginagawa natin. But we do experimentation kapag kinakailangan. Like for example, kailangan sa vaccine trials, mga ganyan. But in epidemiology, in general talaga, observational in nature siya, which allows researchers to assess associations between the exposures and outcomes as they naturally occur. So it's data collection. Epidemiologists collect data through various methods, including surveys, interviews, medical reviews, and biological sample data. So mas madidiscuss pa itong data collection niya mamaya. And yung analysis po, in the statistical methods, epidemiologic data are analyzed using statistical methods to assess associations, quantify risks, and identify potential causal relationships between exposures and outcome po natin. So what are epidemiologic strategies? Given a study description, specific epidemiologic study types can identify based on key characteristics such as yung objectives, manipulation of exposure variables, direction of inquiry, and yung assessment time points natin. So kung babalikan natin yung mga previous slides, ito yung parang nagiging unique sa epidemiologic studies natin or epidemiologic approach natin kasi sabi natin may yung focus niya sa population, unlike sabi ko nga kanina sa ibang clinical study individual yung focus. Dito entire population po natin for us to identify patterns and causes po ng health condition. Next is yung observational na nature ni epidemiologic approach natin. Yung epidemiology kasi natin, sabi ko nga, halos nagre-rely talaga siya sa observational studies natin rather than sa experimental. And next is yung disease causation niya. When we say disease causation, yung causal relationships or yung epidemiologic approach kasi aims to understand the causal relationship between yung exposure natin or yung mga risk factors and health outcomes like tawag dito, uh, it aims to understand causal relationships and uh, exposures and health outcomes through using statistical analysis and hypothesis testing po natin. And lastly is prevention oriented po kasi si epidemiology, which is alam naman natin epidemiology is heavily geared toward public health interventions aimed at preventing disease. So rather than just treating it. Okay, sabi ko kanina ito na yung dalawa na i-discuss po namin ni Ma'am Jen, yung descriptive and analytic study. So keep in mind na descriptive study is to describe a disease or health phenomena, condition or phenomenon. Yung PPT po, sabi ko kanina, yung person, place, and time. So it basically answers the question who, when, and where. Yung analytic study natin is to test yung hypothesis. It basically answers the question how and why po natin. So under sa descriptive study natin, meron po tayong tatlong components dito or elements which is yung case report series natin, cross-sectional or yung prevalence study natin, and ecologic study. So after po ng descriptive study, we should be able to come up with a hypothesis. So take note po ito, hindi po tayo gumagawa ng descriptive study dahil meron tayong hypothesis, but rather we do descriptive study for us to come up with an hypothesis and further research or investigation study po natin to test for the hypothesis or yung exposure, yung X, and yung outcome po natin, yung Y. So meron po tayong dalawa dito, yung observational and experimental. So yung observational, ito yung factor-based or observed, and meron din po tayong tatlong types, yung cross-sectional, cohort, and case control. Yung experimental, sabi ko kanina, meron yung si RCT and community trials po natin. So epidemiologic strategies, tayong dalawa, descriptive and analytic. So let's go with the descriptive study designs. Descriptive studies aim to characterize the distribution of disease within a population without exploring causal relationships. They provide valuable insights into disease patterns and serves as a basis for generating hypotheses for further research. Sabi ko nga kanina, hindi tayo hindi natin ginagawa ang descriptive study dahil meron na po dati tayong hypothesis, but rather we do descriptive study to generate a hypothesis. Wait lang po. So ayun, descriptive study, meron po tayong tatlo, si case report or series po natin, ecology study, and cross-sectional or yung prevalence study natin. So dito po muna tayo kay case report or series study. Okay, yung objective po natin kay case report or series study po natin is to describe unique or unusual cases of disease. The presence of exposure manipulation, no manipulation, because it focuses on reporting observed cases. Sa direction of inquiry naman, it describes clinical manifestations, demographics, and outcomes of individual cases or small groups. Yung assessment time points naman is data collected at the time of case identification or clinical encounter. So, detailed po kasi si case report or series study natin which account of an individual patient or small group po kasi yung ino-observe po dito, which is yung small group na rin meron siyang unique or unusual cases ng diseases po natin, which often ito yung tinatawag nating parang first-hand clinical encounter po natin. Sa case report series or study natin, let's say for example, para mas mabilis na lang, antibiotic na lang po tayo. Like amoxicillin. May isang nag-take ng amoxicillin. Parang ganito po kasi yung concept niya, no? May nag-take ng amoxicillin, then biglang dumugo po yung mata nila. Dumugo yung mata nila. Pero during the clinical trials ng amoxicillin, wala naman pong na-record na dumugo yung mata. Do sa mga nag-take ngayon is nagkaroon sila ng rashes, then or allergic reactions. And during the clinical trials ni amoxicillin, may na-record po na patawag dito, allergic reaction. So dito sa case report or case series natin, yung report natin is mag-focus lang po dun sa may dumugo yung mata because ito po ay yung unique or unusual na case ng disease. And isang example natin sa nung early 1980s, nagkaroon ng unusual infection po yung mga lalaki natin which lead to the discovery ng HIV. So ayun. And the direction of inquiry, sabi nga natin, describes clinical manifestations, demographics, and outcomes of individual cases or small groups. So, si case report kasi natin, it offers valuable information on the disease presentation, yung progression, yung treatment, and ang kaso nga lang, hindi, ang parang limitation po kasi nito is hindi siya generalizable. So meaning, since small lang po yung number nung let's say sa individual and small groups lang po kasi siya, hindi po siya na-apply sa larger population. However, yung sabi nga natin yung strength ni case report or series natin is makakapag-identify po tayo ng new diseases, adverse reactions or treatment methods kasi nga ito yung first-hand clinical count natin, yung unique or unusual cases po natin. And next is, sabi ko kanina, in-depth or detail po siya. And ang problema lang po, ang kaso nga lang po, ang problema kay case report or series natin is yung isa, sabi ko, lack of generalizability po siya and hindi po tayo makapag-build ng causal inference po natin. When we say causal inference, case report kasi natin cannot establish ng mag-establish ng statistical associations due to lack of comparison groups kasi nga small groups or individual lang po tayo. And masasabi kong parang bias din yung nagiging kapag ginagawa natin si case report or series. Ay hindi ko sure if tama yung word ko na bias, but uh, there is a potential selection of bias kasi ang nagiging focus natin dito yung unique or unusual cases lang. For example, dun sa amoxicillin natin. Although nagkaroon ng mga uh, allergic reaction sa amoxicillin, ang naging focus lang natin yung mga dumugo yung mata. So, ganun po yung parang eksena ni case report or case series natin. Basta tatandaan po natin kay case report or case series, unique or unusual cases po yung mga focus natin. And it is often ang parang ginagamit na mga data dito is parang mga previous data or mga mga ganun. Parang retrospective po kasi si case report or case series po natin. So, tapos na po tayo dun kay ecologic study. So, parang bilis. Ecologic study po tayo. So, yung objective po natin dito is to examine associations between population level exposure and outcomes. Kay um, case report po natin kanina or case series is individual or small group. Kay ecologic, population level na po. Yung presence of exposure or manipulation po natin, no manipulation. It just examines exposure outcome associations at group level. Yung direction of inquiry niya, it investigates correlations between aggregate exposure measures and disease rates. Assessment time points po dito, data collected at specific time points for entire populations or geographical areas. So si ecological study naman, basically it's just examines the relationship between exposure and disease across population or groups rather than individual level po dito. So yung mga data na ginagamit po dito is yung tinatawag natin aggregate data. Aggregate data. Kapag sinabi po nating aggregate data, ito pwedeng galing nga national health statistics po natin or yung mga population averages po natin. Or to any authority na pwede nating pagkunan ng data ng isang population. So, ang purpose dito is to explore, sabi ko nga, potential relationships between population level exposures. Kapag population level exposures, ano po ba yung mga examples dito? Mga air pollution, mga diet, mga climate change, and disease outcomes po natin. As well as to identify po yung trends sa ecologic study natin. And both pala, bago ko makalimutan, both si ecologic study po natin and si case report natin is useful din po sila to generate hypothesis for further investigation or further study po natin. Let's say for example, kay ecologic study, we are comparing the average fat intake of different countries and their corresponding heart disease rates, mga ganun. Like for example, yung average fat intake ni Tuguegarao at saka average fat intake ni Solana and dun sa corresponding heart disease rate. So basically parang kino-compare mo lang uh, yung dalawang lugar. And then ang goods kay ecologic study is that large scale yung data niya since population level niya. And cost efficient din po siya. Though, parang parehas lang na cost efficient but in general or sa compare sa mga ibang study, cost efficient siya kasi nga uh, pwedeng concurrent or retrospective yung data na pwede po nating gamitin. So kukuha ka lang ng data, then you just try to compare if yung kung saan lugar mas magkaka-develop ng ganitong disease, mga ganyan. However, ang problema kay ecologic study, meron po tayong tinatawag na ecological fallacy. So nagkakaroon tayo ng ecological fallacy when inferences about individuals are made use on group level data. Sabi nga natin, population level, si ecologic study. Let's say for example, dun sa average fat intake at saka dun sa corresponding heart disease rate nila. Let's say sabihin natin, ikaw mismo, mataas ka rin lumamon ng fat, so mataas yung fat intake mo. Kabilang ka ngayon sa population ng Tuguegarao na may fat mataas ang fat intake. And then ang sinasabi kasi dito sa ecological fallacy, so kapag mataas ang fat intake, mataas din ang chance na magkaroon ng heart disease. So dito kasi parang nawawala yung individuality or yung sa individual, parang kumbaga hindi porket mataas yung fat intake ko, mataas din yung chance na magkaroon ako ng heart disease. What if yung individual is wala naman siyang sedentary lifestyle or galaw din naman siya ng galaw, meron siyang mga uh, mga healthy lifestyle, healthy pa ba pag mataas yung fat intake? I mean, mataas, lagi siyang nag-exercise, ganun. Ang nangyari kasi dito sa ecologic study is average or yung kabuuan na ng Tuguegarao City yung kinunan natin ng average ng fat intake. Na di-disregard dito yung sabi ko nga parang individuality. What if yung individual na to is mataas naman yung higher chance pa rin po ba siyang magkaroon ng heart disease. So, mga ganun. And yun nga, lack of control over confounders. Yung ecological studies natin parang ayun, nasabi ko na parang na-disregard natin yung mga pwedeng makaapekto or yung mga confounding variables natin na pwedeng makadistort or makaapekto dun sa possible na magiging outcome. So yung relationship ng exposure and outcome natin is nadi-distort since nadi-disregard po yung confounders po natin. Next is yung cross-sectional or prevalence study. So yung objective po nito is to estimate the prevalence of disease and identify associated factors. So yung presence of exposure, manipulation natin, no manipulation. So kung papansin niyo dito under sa scripting ang manipulation kasi hindi po tayo nagkakaroon ng control interventions po dito. More on like, wait lang, your internet connection is unstable. Okay pa rin po ba? May
Okay
nagpa-pop
lang,
kasi sa akin
sir.
na unstable. Ayun. So ayun, dito wala siyang manipulation, sabi ko nga, more on observational lang talaga sa descriptive or sa epidemiologic approach natin. The direction of inquiry, it examines the associations between exposure and disease prevalence at a single point in time. Yung assessment data collected through variants at a specific time point. Okay, sa cross-sectional study po natin or yung prevalence study natin, basically it just involves observing a population at a single point in time to assess the prevalence of disease or health-related characteristics like for example yung exposures, risk factors, mga ganyan. So para lang siyang snapshot. So tatandaan nyo dito sa cross-sectional snapshot lang nung health status ng population. So yung purpose kasi nito is to basically determine, sabi nga natin, yung prevalence ng health condition natin, yung risk factor or behavior as well sa isang population. And as well to identify identify associations between si exposure and outcome po natin. For example, yung exposure natin is smoking, yung outcome po natin is lung disease. We try to identify if may association ba between yung exposure na yun and yung outcome based dun sa concurrent measurements po natin. So, let's say for example, a survey conducted to measure the percentage of adults with diabetes in a specific city, or a study examining the prevalence of obesity and its association with physical inactivity natin, yung kakaroon ng sedentary lifestyle. Ngayon, since concurrent yung natin, sabi ba dito kanina, direction association, at a single point in time, yung pag-examine natin ng exposure and disease natin, kumbaga ngayong araw lang yun na na examine yung exposure and yung possible na outcome po natin. Nagkakaroon po tayo dito sa cross-sectional study natin ng tinatawag po nating temporal ambiguity. Yung temporal ambiguity since nga both yung exposure and outcome natin are measured at the same time, it is difficult for us to identify or to establish which came first, making it impossible to determine cause and effect po natin. Let's say for example sa temporal ambiguity natin, uh, yun dun sa may yung a study examining prevalence of obesity and its association with physical inactivity po natin. Obesity tapos sedentary lifestyle. Yung temporal ambiguity, ang sabi dito, mahihirapan kang alamin kung which came first, yung exposure ba or si exposure po ba or si outcome po natin. Uh, kung yung sedentary lifestyle po ba ang nagli-lead dun sa obesity natin or yung obesity mismo ang nagli-lead kung bakit tayo nagkakaroon ng sedentary lifestyle. Since nga, sabi dito, single point in time. So, minasure mo sila at the same time. Hindi ka nagbigay ng or naglaan ng sapat na time para i-observe if si if si sedentary lifestyle ba talaga ang nagli-lead kay ano tawag dito kay obesity po natin, wala siyang longitudinal data natin. There is no longitudinal data. So cross-sectional studies only provides data from one time point, making it hard sa atin to track kung gawa ko ng sapat dun sa certain time. So parang measure mo kasi sila agad and then sinabi mo ng okay si sedentary lifestyle nagli-lead ng obesity. What if kung malaki na siya or kung dahil dun sa size niya
Sakay, lalakad ka pa dyan.
ayun dahil dun sa size niya or yung bigat niya is tinatamad na siyang gumalaw. O pwedeng ganun kasi yun po yung tinatawag na temporal ambiguity. Hindi natin malaman. Yes po, ma'am.
Sir Mark, sorry to stop you in between. I have a class din kasi ng 4 o'clock, 4 to 7. So medyo tuloy-tuloy ako ngayon.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you
Bilisan ko. Last naman na to, ma'am. Actually, last.
wanted
Oo.
you to finish until sana since last na itong cross-sectional. But I want you to wrap it up kasi compare and contrast later on at the end. If you can do that
Eto, ma'am.
next meeting pa.
Okay na
lang.
lang, ma'am. Okay lang ba mag-send ako sa ma'am, sa GC nung table niya? Actually may table ako pero hindi ko lang
Yes.
nilagay sa.
You may. Yes po.
Okay
You
po.
may. So, can you unshare? Sorry for that, Sir Mark. But we're cutting Sir Mark's, lang, I'll stop